All right, good afternoon. Wow. Welcome. I think you had a little too much coffee. So welcome to the last session of today. Does anyone feel like it's the last day of Lotusphere, but it's only the second day? So welcome to the day in the life of the exceptional work experience. My name is Christopher Crummy. I have the best job at IBM. I'm the lead evangelist worldwide for all Lotus products. To my left over here is Ted Stanton. He's also one of the members of the evangelist team. So we're going to go through what I refer to as the day in the life. It's a horizontal demonstration as to how we use this stuff internally at IBM, how we solve our business problems, things of that nature. A little bit about me before we jump in. This is my 20th year. My first job was selling 1-2-3 for DOS. So a lot has changed in the many years that I've been with IBM and Lotus. What's driving our changes? What's driving the way that we actually collaborate? What's making those changes happen for us? And we have a great strategy at IBM, and it's actually a plan that we call all the way out to 2015. Things that are driving this are things like, 80,000 contractors, 170,000 countries, 50% of IBMers do not have an office. I am one of those people. I actually work from home. We've had a lot of acquisitions. We're driving a huge open computing strategy. For example, we've made Symphony our default productivity editor. We've switched from IE to Firefox as an open computing strategy. We give choice about operating systems, Mac, Linux, Windows, things of that nature. But the way we're set up at home, in the office, the fact that we've got a matrix reporting system, I've got one official boss in HR, but I report to about 5 or 6 different people. So there's a whole complex matrix system within IBM that's kind of driving the requirements. Think of the 80 acquisitions we've had in the last 5 or 6 years. They say, email does not make me feel a part of IBM. It is the real-time collaboration that makes me feel a part of IBM. So those are the things that are kind of driving why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, so IBM gave me a BlackBerry and gave me a ThinkPad, but working from home, I'm 100% Mac. I'm a big iPhone user, iPad user. I have the choice of using what I want to use, and so I choose to use the Mac at home and travel with it. I'm very much into the unified communication collaboration. IBM does not pay for my home telephone. IBM does not reimburse me when I'm using the hotel telephone. So the reason that I use the unified communication collaboration, it's quite simple. It saves me a lot of money, right? It's very much the right business choice for me and the right business choice for IBM. I'm very much into the social software, the power of Web 2.0. Because I realize that as a manager of the best team, I've got 25 people worldwide, that I'm not getting more headcount. So how do I get more out of the team that I already have? And the power of Web 2.0 and the power of the wisdom of the crowds is exactly how I'm solving that problem. Then outside the firewall, I have not just a way to collaborate with my business partners and my customers. Did you see how big that bald spot was? Look at that. My goodness. Is there any way you can bring up the fat meter on the projector? Let's bring it up a little bit. Good. So outside the firewall, I have a... Just got that? Okay. We'll have jokes through the whole day, and then when you're on your way to the party tonight, we'll just click and you'll get it. So I don't necessarily collaborate outside the firewall. I have dramatic relationships with my partners and customers outside the firewall. So I'm involved with Lotus Live, Greenhouse, OpenNTF.org, Developer Work. So those are the 4 kind of major places outside the firewall that I collaborate a lot. So the best way to do the kind of the day in the life is to actually take a look at my business card. Because what this software does for me, it helps me manage my relationships. I have a relationship to IBM. IBM has a relationship to me. I have a relationship to my peers. I have a relationship to lots of different things, and it helps manage those relationships. And it also manages transitions between my roles. I travel a lot. So how do I use this stuff to solve my business problems when I'm traveling? The most precious thing you can give to another human being is your time. So thank you for that. But that means my time is manifested in my calendar. So having that life-work balance, understanding where my kids are, understanding when Red Sox games are going on, right? These things help with this life-work balance. I work from home. I love working from home. There's a great life-work balance in that situation. I'm a manager. What tools do I have to manage a phenomenal team? What can I do there? How do I collaborate outside the firewall? How do I be a mobile employee? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to see how kind of all of these tools come together in the day in the life, if you will. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what I call Tetris mail. The first thing I unfortunately get in the morning is my inbox. And if you've ever played Tetris, it's just like my inbox. I delete 50 emails and 100 emails to show on top. Looks something like this. Emails keep coming down, floating down, and you can't manage it for some reason. And that's because we're breaking the fundamental rule of collaboration. I've got one out of, I could about 4 or 5. One is you have to make it easy for someone to do the right thing. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum and see if you guys, tell me if you work with this guy. Anyone work with him? Or how about this? The next guy is even worse because he just says the word thanks back to everyone with the attachment still in there, and now you're officially way over your mail quota, and it's backup time and stuff. So there is a strategy about how people are collaborating. And collaboration is extremely generational, dramatically generational. So we also have a great colleague of ours that has gone on a special project to remove the addiction to email. And he's gone a long, long time, multiple years, over 3 years. And he has this on his business card, which I love. It says, "Email is where knowledge goes to die." It's true. The next rule that I talk about, besides making it simple, is you are not in the email forward business. If you are email forwarding all day long, you're doing it wrong. You're not in the email forward business. If someone's going to ask you for something more than once, you should share it. Okay? You should share it. Now take a quick look at his email. This is his email by week. At first I thought it was by minute. It's by week. For those who can't see it, it's like 18, 19, 24, 16, 13, 16. That's the number of emails by week. He uses all the social software to actually do what he needs to do. So this is some of the theme that you'll get, is trying to get off this email concept and actually do a lot more innovation, a lot more collaboration, driving that wisdom of the crowds that you don't necessarily get. Okay, so in this particular demonstration, 90% of what I do is out of the box. 5% is IBM customized. Another 5% is business partner integration. So that's pretty much the kind of the exceptional work experience. Everyone real, and I'll call out where we have these particular things. So let's get over to the demo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the team to actually bring me over to the demo machine, if you don't mind. There we go. We're going to go to the demo machine. The demo is about context. The first part of what I'm going to talk about is context. So my favorite feature on this idea of the Tetris mail is this ability to actually use a plugin called Swift. Now Swift allows me, it's actually an IBM patent, it's for free, it comes on the CD, and you'll notice across the top of my inbox here, it's auto-suggesting folders I should put this email in. So it's actually reading who sent me the email, where the previous emails came from this person, reading the title, and auto-suggesting. So my mail triage is cut down by about 500%, because all I have to do is click once on the folder of choice, and it's triaged away. You can clap. Go ahead. It's okay. And I think that's the reason why Brian was so animated. The Red Bull played a big role. Was because you guys need to get excited about this stuff. This is not a two-phase commit, right? This is fun, powerful productivity stuff, okay? So things like the Swift file are very powerful. Collaboration should be 1 to 2 clicks away. So I should be able to right-click on Brian's name and say, you know what? I know Brian. He and I worked together. What did we work on? Was it a meeting that we had? What was it? Because I kind of organized my thoughts with this. So I can just simply go right here to collaboration history, and it will show me the last couple of months of all the meetings, all the to-dos, all the chats, and everything we've had together in one click. Just trying to give me context of where we had something in common in the past. All right. Now, the other powerful way to get context is dealing specifically with an email or calendar. And you're like, who are these people? Why am I invited to this meeting? What's going on with this particular concept here? So I'm going to show you the first customized thing that we have. And I'm going to show you a plugin called PeoplePad. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click onto a document here. And so you'll notice I clicked on this blue document in the lower left. And on the right-hand side, it's gone and grabbed all of the business cards of all the people that are in that particular meeting. So it's very, very contextual. So you get an idea of who they are they online, what's going on, their titles, everything. So you get to see everyone that's going on here. Then I can actually run an analysis on this, and actually it goes out to Lotus Connections, grabs their data from Lotus Connections. It will generate a custom org chart based on that just email list. Okay? That's not cool? Thank you. Comes down here, it shows me time zone pane. So on the left-hand side, if I move a meeting, doesn't really bother anyone, but when I deal with people in India and overseas, it shows me direct business pane if I move an email in different time zones. It shows me kind of a mashup of a Google map of where these people are located. It also will show me the latest data that they've submitted into Connections. Because usually what you're going to talk about is something they've just recently posted. Right? So this is a great example of a custom plugin that gives me context. Now, the executives love this because when they move jobs or they move to different parts of the business, they don't know who these people are, and it gives them a faster way to assimilate into that situation. All right, let's go over here for a second and talk a little bit about building a kind of a quick email, if you will. So a lot of drag and drop. So I'm able to come over here, drag the marketing team directly from the right side into the to field, and just drag their names over. Okay? I'm going to go over here to my favorite plugin, which is the Files plugin. So this is the Lotus Connections 3 file plugin. It's shipping right now. And I can sit there and say, yeah, here's the file I want. I'm going to drag and drop that over and drop that into the email. I'm then going to realize that I can come down here and go to my community, the files that are inside of my community. So I'm going to switch to my community called Lotus Knows You're an Evangelist. And that's going to go over and grab all my files there, and I'm going to grab that and drag that over here so that person can grab that one. And then I realized that when I talked to my buddy Ted over here, he had files in his location. So I'm going to go to his personal files, and I'm going to grab his presentation that he's giving here today inside of that. Now, thank you. So when I go back to my files, the other reason I like this, again, it's going back to mantra number 1, make it easy for them to do the right thing. I can just right-click and say share. So I can completely control the ACL and everything from here and not have to go into connections and do it from the browser perspective. I can do it right from here. So a very powerful way to do the right thing. Now, if you realize this is stage 1 of Project Vulcan. Because when I send this email now to someone and they're on Project Vulcan, then actually it will go and do the embedded experience of those 3 presentations that I just shared for them. Right? So it's the evolution of these concepts that are going on here. All right. I can come over here and I can actually go to my same time 8.5 meetings, and I'm just going to drag and drop the actual meeting details from the server onto here and basically send this off. So very powerful concepts of the files, of the drag and drop and those capabilities. All right. Let's go to my favorite concept here. I'm going to move to the idea of the amount of travel that I do. One of the most innovative things we've done at IBM is use a concept called live text. And live text is very much like the BlackBerry, where it sees a telephone number or it sees some type of thing, and you can take an action on the telephone number. We now do that with anything that is URL addressable, which includes notes. Which translates into the business value that anything that is URL addressable is now 1 click away from your end users. So now I'm going to move into this mode of travel. I do a lot of travel. So how does this help me with my travel? So you'll notice that certain words and capabilities are live inside of my email. So with that, I'm going to come over here. It recognizes the semantics of the British Air flight. So with 1 click, it's going to go live out to BA, and actually that is that fast out to BA live to show me the status. At least someone's flying today. Right? Then when I travel overseas, I always kind of get caught by which electricity plug do I need. So I'm able to actually leverage and be able to go out there and say, hey, everywhere there's a different plug, show me what I need. Okay? Same thing here. When I realize that I got to go to a meeting room and I have no idea where that meeting room is. So we can tie in existing meeting rooms all over the world, shows me exactly where it's located, shows me actually how to get there, shows me what's inside of that. Anything that is URL addressable is 1 click away. 1 click away. Now, it says here that I have seat 35D on the Boeing 777-304 class. Well, I have no idea if that's a good seat or a bad seat. So I'm going to go over to the sidebar plugin here, and I'm actually going to say, why don't we make this open a new window here so we can see the whole thing. So I'm going to go to the British Air, and this is mobileseatguru.com. There's the Boeing 304 class. And now it's going to say, where is the good seats and the bad seats? Now, those little black dots says there's power. And let's see where 35D is. Yeah, that's not good. 35D is that red area right there, okay? So you change the flights as fast as you can, right? So this type of stuff is very, very contextual, right where you need to be. And anything that is a great mobile sidebar app is a wonderful notes app. We'll show you that in a minute. If I keep coming down here, you can actually do multiple recognizers for one live text. So this in particular sense, the zip code is the live text. And we've got different things like nationwide. Show me the nearest nationwide agent. Show me the nearest post office. Show me where the nearest Starbucks is. You can't put a price on that. And you can sit there and say, build a dashboard. Show me nationwide and show me postal service, go. And it will actually go out to those particular sites, build you a little mini dashboard, pass the zip code to those locations, and will show you those particular locations live. So now you get to see where the nearest agent is, and you get to see where the nearest post office is based on that zip code. All this is out of the box, folks. It's really, really simple to do, really easy to do. It takes less than 30 seconds for me to build that Seat Guru sidebar. Okay? All right. Now, let's keep going. The one thing I don't like about my travel is my meal limit. Who loves meal limits? Right? The worst part about it is I don't know what my meal limit is until I've handed in my expense report. So I've actually built it so that it will tell me, it recognizes every state in the union, and it will actually go out to the portal and show me what the meal limit is for the state of Florida, for any state, for IBM. It goes right to the portal. Okay? So very, very helpful in that situation. Now, I do a lot of travel from my office to the Executive Briefing Center in Westford and Littleton. So I use this sidebar plugin over here, and I've already got it pre-canned, so I can just say, hey, yeah, pre-canned from my house directly to the office, and let's turn on some of the traffic here so we see how bad it is in Boston. Oh boy. Then I can actually take this, and I'm going to actually send it directly to my GPS system. I just plug in my Garmin GPS, takes the whole address and puts it right into the Garmin for me. Okay? So there's some powerful things that you can do with sidebar plugins with live text. Information, again, is just one click away from this situation. Okay. Can we go back to the presentation for a second? So there's lots of ways to put sidebar plugins to make it more extensible. So I have LinkedIn on the left. I've got Mobile Seat Guru on the right. I've got Dropbox. Love Dropbox. Love Dropbox. The mobile site for IBM.com on the right. The FedEx on the left. We have TripIt on the right. Gist on the left. Wall Street Journal on the right. The Lotusphere 2011 mobile interface. Evernote on the right. So any mobile app is a world-class sidebar app, and it takes 60 seconds to add it. Now, let's go back. If we can go back to the demo machine for a second, if you don't mind. And I'm going to show you how do we deploy this stuff. And we do it through the catalog. So I'm going to minimize this and show you by category. So what I've done is I've built these categories that say Lotus Evangelist Desktop for executives, for the UK, for IBMers, for packaging and shipping, for social networking. So literally all I have to do is say to the executives at IBM, these are the plugins I want you to get. Okay? And all of those get downloaded directly to their sidebar. I want them to be able to have the multimedia library for notes directly inside of their user experience here, and it's like a YouTube training for notes. But I want that right for the executives, right at their fingertips, and put that in there. So the deployment of these things is very easy and very, very powerful. Okay. If we go back to my here to give you a little more context, to drive the adoption rate of connections, we put one-click access directly into names. So I can sit there and say, yeah, let's go to profiles, and with one click looks up that particular person inside of connections. And then I also built one that actually goes to Faces. And Faces is an IBM research project that rides on top of connections. And you'll probably see this in the future of our products. But being able to get an idea with one click of who that person is that you're dealing with. Okay. Let's go over to my calendar for a second and talk a little bit about my time. I do a lot of travel. So you'll notice in the upper left-hand corner here, I've got dual time zones, Zurich and the East. I've got ghosted calendar entries. I've got a bunch of calendar overlays. So I'm going to just bring in TripIt. I'm going to bring in my home Google plugin. I'm going to grab all of my friends' birthdays from Facebook. I'm going to grab the Mac I use at home with my wife, and I'm going to grab the calendar from Quicker and pull that into what I'm doing. These all can go offline. They can show up on your mobile device of choice, because we literally replicate. If you choose to go offline, you replicate it and it shows up on your mobile device. Okay? But a powerful way to understand where your kids are, what's going on, what's happening. Very, very good. Now let's talk a little bit about where we use the calendar a little bit within IBM. And tell me if you recognize this beginning of your conference call. Ready? Boop. Who just joined? Yeah, this is Mark. I'm calling from home. Boop. Who just joined? Yeah, this is Susan. Ding dong. Boop. Who just joined? Yeah, this is Mark. I had to change from my cell phone to my house phone. Right? And it's in the first 20 minutes of your meeting is simply taking roll call. So what we did is we simply put a little button inside of the notes calendar, and when you click on it, all you have to do is click on it, and it will actually do what's called conference call popcorn, and it will show you everyone that's in the meeting. If we could just switch over to the presentation for a second, you'll actually see a screenshot that I took of our last meeting, and there we are. Okay? So that's an example of how we're using this technology. Okay, we'll come back to the demo machine if we could. The other thing that I'm a big fan of that I use extensively is Tungle. This is a phenomenal way for me to have a deeper relationship with my partners and my customers outside the firewall. It also is a great way to limit what your mom can do. Don't misunderstand how valuable that is. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to have a Tungle account to actually participate. All you need is a browser and an email address. So you can literally send someone a web page of what your time, what you want them to know about when you're available. They pick the time, and then it will automatically add the calendar into Outlook, into Gmail, into Notes, into other notes. It doesn't have to be on the same infrastructure. Big fan of this. Huge fan. Okay. So that's some of the examples there of using the calendar and the things of that nature. Okay, let's switch over to the presentation for a second. So not only do I use the rich client and that capability, but I also at times really love to use the browser. Because, you know, my machine isn't running. Someone's got a browser, I can access that capabilities. So there's a tremendous amount of parallel functionality between the rich client and the browser-only client. So the ghosted calendar entries, the buddy list, the multiple time zones, the calendar overlays, etc. So very rich example in there. Now, let's talk a little bit about working from home. Who works from home? Yeah, all right. Okay. Let me ask you a question. You ever work from home and then the guy knocks on the door and asks if the homeowner is home, and because you look like the construction worker? Ever happened to you? No? Okay. So why do I work from home? Well, one is I kind of have that great life-work balance. I can go and see my kids at the school. Sometimes I go have lunch with them at the school. Love that life-work balance. It's an hour and a half in traffic one way just to get to the office. Okay? It's like I can't believe I ever did that long, but powerful way. Now the other reason is it's an hour and a half. So I love this sign. You'll never get to work on time. Ha ha. So there's actually the reality of working from home sometimes. It's not always as glamorous. So sometimes you get things like this when you work at home. Yeah, okay. So let's actually talk about how I use this working from home. Primarily, the first big thing I use is my awareness. So a couple of things. I want you to pay close attention to what you see on the screen. One is I have a custom plugin called My Time, and it shows me what time it is for that person. Is it nighttime for them? Is it daytime for them? Is it dusk for them? And I can see that status right there with the sun. I also use a Pintos business partner plugin to tie my same time identity into a Skype identity. So I can see not only inside of the inbox the inbox over here, but also in the same time buddy list, that those particular names are live on Skype also. So you literally pull down the list and say, take C. Crummy from Skype and turn him into Christopher Crummy at IBM, and you map the identities. Okay? So awareness on, I have a global team of 25 people. What time is it? What time is it for them? Are they on holiday? It was actually show me what holiday they're on. So I realize why they're not in the office. Okay? So that's a very, very powerful concept. Now, I use a free plugin from Apilio here that leverages the Google translation functionality. It grabs that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch back to my demo machine, and I'm going to find Mr. Moritari-san, and we're going to have a conversation here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on this little plugin, and I'm going to translate from Japanese to English, or English to Japanese, and we're going to have a conversation. Hello, do you have time to chat? And I'm going to send that. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to take my English and translate it into kanji for him. Then he's going to come back, and now you'll see that his kanji is translated into English. We need to do some work on our strategy documents for 2011. Send. Guess we have to get him typing lessons. Very good. All right, so that's a great example of a free plugin to drop into your same time and be able to do that naturally. All right, great. Now, other things that I do when I use the capability here is this little plugin that I've got that has my canned answers. So I love this one because I usually get interrupted in the middle of a meeting. And say like, especially my boss, and I'll just say, hey, say hello to all the customers, send me an email, right? So very, very powerful. Okay. Now, let's go back to the presentation for a second, please, and talk a little bit about same-time unified telephony. We've actually are deploying same-time unified telephony worldwide for every single employee at IBM, specifically because of the ROI is so good. So good for us. So again, leveraging that infrastructure, being able to put it into my user experience is unbelievably powerful. Okay? So let's actually talk about how I use some of this stuff at home. You probably saw Ron do a little bit of this demo the other day, and he has the new Voyager Pro headset from Plantronics. And what I love about this is that I can be anywhere in the house and not in front of my laptop and take the call from the laptop, from the headset. So there's an actual plug-in that you can get to tie this headset directly and other headsets from Plantronics into your same-time unified telephony and into same-time meeting functionality. So I can answer the call with one click. I can literally answer it by picking up the headset and put it in my ear. It actually will tell me how much talk time I have. It will tell me I'm on mute. My wife would love that feature. But sometimes so every once in a while, I'll just tell you that you're on mute, so you realize that you're actually, when you're speaking, the reason why no one hears you. Then the other thing that I really love about it is that it will tell me exactly how much battery power I have left on the device through the UI on my iPhone or other device. So I have a great idea of how that works. So let's actually do that. I am going to come over here, and I'm going to hover my mouse over my business card here. We're going to go back to the demo, and I'm going to have Ted call me. He's just going to SUT me here. Here we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to accept this particular call through the headset here. And now we're doing this. Wow, holy echo. So what I want to do is just grab my headset here and show you that now my status is automatically changed to a call on Plantronics headset. Okay? Then I can also mute the call directly from the device, be anywhere in the house. So you don't get this fat unless you have full access to the refrigerator. Okay? All right. So let's finish that call. All right. Okay. So we get that idea. I'm going to take this off because I can't hear my echo. So let's talk a little bit about the SUT. So I'm going to hang up here, and I'm going to come down to my buddy list here, and I'm going to right-click on, okay, I'm going to right-click on Ted here, and I'm going to call him. And some of my other favorite features here when I do this is being able to promote this to a video and also transfer this to a telephone. Because while I have a boss that likes to do phone calls at 5 o'clock, and I got to pick up my kids at daycare, so I'm on the call, but I want to literally transfer to the cell phone so I can literally walk out. My Plantronics headset will convert from being on this to my phone, and I'm walking out the door. Don't even take the headset off. Okay? So very, very, very powerful stuff. Now, I'm going to come over here, and I'm actually going to drag Brian onto this function. And we're going to have kind of a three-way particular call. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if Ted, what I'm going to do here is give you an idea of why this is so powerful. If IBMers did this just once a week for 30 minutes, IBM would save over $7 million US alone just in our conference call costs. If you look at conference call costs, they are always normally between 2 and 3 people. Right? Let's go back to the first mantra I said today. You got to make it easy for them to do the right thing. It's the easiest thing for me to give you my 800 number and we have a 2-person conference call at a large cost to IBM. I can drag and drop and do that without any cost to IBM. Okay? So very, very powerful function and capability. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to come over to my same time meeting. I'm going to open up my same time meeting room. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this functionality here. I'm going to get the presentation going. I'm going to start the audio video functionality. I'm going to come over to here. I'm going to grab a phone number from my kind of clipboard sidebar plugin. I'm going to call out to the person that is in the car that wants to be a part of the audio meeting on this situation, and that's going to be this phone right here. Let's say I got coverage. I got AT&T, so it's a crapshoot. So I am getting the call here, so I'm going to accept that. Then I'm going to come over to here, and I'm going to grab a Polycom endpoint. And I'm going to come over to here, and I'm just going to invite this Polycom endpoint directly into my meeting and have them participate in this. Okay? This is my favorite employee because the PVCs for this employee are really, really easy to give them. Okay? So this is a great example of being able to pull in endpoints, RadVision, Polycom, different things into this situation. This is our strategy in 2011 on my team to have worldwide people on my team be intimately involved with the Executive Briefing Center in Massachusetts without having to travel. So the onus was back on me to make sure that I was able to do this without having to have a huge cost. Okay, there we go. Let's go back to the presentation for a second. The next thing I wanted to show you is this idea of drag in natural speaking. I'm not going to be able to demo for it because of the echo, but being able to literally speak into chats, speak into the notes client, and be able to use your voice with drag in natural speaking anywhere you have a kind of a text point in the UI. So very powerful way. I use the same headset that I use for the SUT in that situation. Okay. Let's go back to the presentation here. So not only do we have that capability with what we've got, there's also a business partner called iLink that has hooked up with SameTime and Polycom. They use the CX5000, that round table device that actually stitches all of the people together. And so on the right-hand side, you'll see the Polycom device, but it actually stitches the round table together, and that's a business partner plugin called iLink, or with iLink. Okay, let's talk a little bit about being a global manager and leveraging this technology. Every user gets 3 tabs. They get home, work, and career and life. That's the default 3 tabs for here. But it's a role-based situation. As soon as I log in and do what I'm doing, it actually shows me all the manager resources that I need to do my job. So it gives me all that functionality. Now, we've upgraded the user experience to W3 and put down the middle of W3 is actually the entire Connections social engine on the most expensive political real estate in all of IBM. So IBM is saying that in the middle of the homepage, where everyone wants to get their stuff, IBM has chosen to put social business as the center of our portal and our web experience at IBM. Right? That's the type of commitment and direction we're heading in. I also use the Notes Launcher. We deliver 50% of the Domino apps that are still notes-only apps directly through the portal. So when you're on the portal and you want to get to the badge application to get a new badge, it will fire up from the portal, fire up the rich client, and get you right to the application. So we've webified and X-Page-fied Tier 1 apps. We've left Tier 2 apps as notes only and deliver them through the portal. Tier 3 apps we've left for the geographies. So we've actually looked at all of our Domino apps and classified them, and then we've given them different delivery mechanisms based on their importance. In terms of other things that we're doing, a unique collaborative app here for the portal is my GPS on my BlackBerry. So just by firing up my BlackBerry, it sends GPS coordinates to WebSphere portal. And if you can see in the upper left-hand corner, you've got the latitude, longitude. It actually will then create a composite page based on that information. So it knows where that is located, shows me Milton, Mass, and then shows me where the nearest IBM office is, and then most importantly, down here, shows me where the nearest coffee is. Okay? All right, let's talk a little bit about social. I've got a great team of folks, and I need to be able to grab more of their knowledge as we do this. So what we've done is represented the success of what's happening outside the firewall, and we build this social network called Connections. These are some of the driving principles as to why we use this and why it's been so successful. One is this idea of knowledge accidents. I want to drive as many of those as possible. I want to be able to see and figure out what people are working on. Oh, I didn't know they're doing that. That's going on. And I want to be able to make sure that I get a pulse of the business, a pulse of the team I work on. The beauty of this is that a lot of the content structured is in a taxonomy, but the reality, what you want is that folksonomy, that kind of non-technical aspect of the knowledge, and be able to get my team in the right direction. One of the most powerful things that Connections allows you to do is a concept that we call organic sharing. When you look at something like CNN, there's always a button on the right-hand side, on most web pages, called share. There's a lot of really interesting reasons as to why they do that. The number one reason why they do it is because when you share it, you actually give it a social value. You actually separate it from everything else that you read, and you escalate it via social value. That's why Google search is so good. Google search uses social tokens to give you what you're looking for. So this is a concept that we call organic sharing. And let's show you, let's come back to the demo here. I'm going to go over to our portal, to Connections, and I'm just going to go to My Files and talk a little bit about the use of organic sharing in My Files. So this is the list of files that I've got. This particular iPad, iPhone app has 783 downloads. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into this iPhone situation and see the sharing that's gone on. So I'm going to go to the sharing button, and I'm going to see all that functionality there. I'm going to see who is shared. So we can see that Alistair shared it with Bob Picciano, and these people shared it here, and it kept going and going and going and going. So when it gets shared, it gives it a social value. So when I update the next version, all 748 people get notified. This is a much smarter way of sharing. This is the way I generate a tipping point. Sometimes I deal with customers that say, I am more valuable the more I keep information to myself. It's the other way around. You want to create a digital persona. This is why, for my team, Connections is so powerful, because you can't create a digital persona in email. You can create a digital persona in a social platform. So giving my team this ability to showcase their knowledge, to blog about capabilities, to escalate across organizational changes is really, really powerful. Okay. Now, some of the other functionality, I'm going to come back here to the home page of Connections. This is actually what I call my digital newspaper, my social newspaper. Kind of gives me we're the only products that give you a big view of the social or digital trail people leave by doing their job. Okay? If I added up the number of downloads by the size of the files I shared, it's 18 gigabytes that I did not put through the email system. What Connections does for me and my team is it allows me to handle the tactical things while I can be more strategic. If you are in the email forward business, you're doing it wrong. Okay? So this gives me a great idea of what's happening, what's changing. Now, what's driving the power when Connections is so popular at IBM is being able to take IBM policies and integrate it into our collaboration platform. I'll give you a perfect example, and that is our thanks program. Giving thanks to other IBMers. How do we do that at IBM? Well, we come up with a program that we call Blue Thanks, and you'll see a widget right here on my homepage. For every individual at IBM, you can see how other people have given thanks to them. It's very easy. You can just fill it out and give them thanks and drive recognition for them. And to them, it's almost like a medal. So when you go to their profile, you can see how many people give that person thanks, and it's a badge of courage to a certain degree. And then we also decided to put it directly into our instant messaging. So if I were to come back here to the client, and I'm going to come over here to Ted, and I started having a conversation, I have a conversation with Ted, and then I just say the word thanks. There's a button at the top right there that allows me to say give thanks, and then when I type in the word thanks, it says, hey, do you want to give Ted a thanks award? right? This is what separates our strategy from other folks is we have initiatives, and initiatives got to be inside the platform. So it goes to one of my last mantras, and that is you have to put it where the eyeballs are. You want it to be successful, you have to put it where the eyeballs are. And that leads us to a concept that we call social every place. I want social to be every place that I'm working. Okay? So the idea of the business card, being able to hover your mouse over the business card and get the data. We do this inside of SharePoint. We do this inside of the portal. We do this everywhere there's a name. Okay? Driving that capability. All right. Now, the other things I want to talk about are the ideas of communities. So you'll notice here we've got a bunch of different communities that we belong to, technical communities, product communities. Every single industry has its own space inside of here. So for example, the insurance industry space has 7,000 members in that one community. 7,000. So how do you bring 7,000 people in the same direction? I'm a brand new employee, I'm focused on insurance, where do I get this stuff? So we do it on lots of different places. We do it over here. For example, I want to show you one called Smarter Planet. Every single ad campaign, every single presentation, every single marketing material you need about Smarter Planet is in this community. I have a community that I use that it's called Lotus Knows You're an Evangelist. This is where I put all the demo materials. This is where I put the directions, because I am not getting more headcount, but I need a way to take the knowledge of my team and tip it in the right direction. So to me, if you've ever read a book by Malcolm Gladwell called The Tipping Point, this is the mechanism I use to tip my projects forward. What makes it go from nothing to successful? That's why or how we use connections, is to take projects and other aspects and move them to that next level. Okay? Ted, do you want to take a quick show what you want to, how you use connections, and then we're going to kind of shut down here.
Sure, if you want to.
I'm going to go over to Ted's machine.
So how many people here are on Facebook? How many people here are on Twitter? How many people this week updated their status on either one of those? Okay, so about half the people. Now, what I find useful about the social media that we have inside IBM is, in fact, that microblogging component. As Chris will tell you, and as many of my colleagues will tell you, I want just-in-time updates. I'm very impatient. I want to know exactly what's going on everywhere across multiple networks that I have. What I really love about our microblogging component is the fact that our executives are on it. Every time we're releasing a new product, press release, or a customer win, our executives are posting that inside IBM. I'm following just about all of them. And you can see here, just on my, my connections page here, a couple things. I have a browser plugin that allows me to get access to my network, my stream, right through Facebook. I can update it right from here. If I scroll down a little bit, I get access to my network, my activity stream, inside IBM, all of my colleagues as well. This is that just-in-time updates. This is where I go in the morning, right after I play email Tetris, to get my latest information that's relative to me. Now, the reality is, to be honest with you, I don't go here right after my email. I stay within my email client. So if I just switch over real quick to take a look at what my email client looks like, I got many of the same plugins as Chris, but one of them here is my status updates plugin. So after I've filtered through all of my high priority emails from Chris and everybody else that reports above me and responded to all of those, I go in here and I can get a snapshot of what's new in that day. Who else has commented on those statuses? What's Suzanne doing? Right? What's Miguel Estrada doing? What's he testing? What's he reading? Same goes for Facebook. Same goes for LinkedIn and Twitter. I can keep track of all of that right inside of my notes client, never needing to leave this interface. So Chris, that's just, you've taken most of everything else I do. So that's some of the different things that Chris hasn't got to showing you. It is how, frankly, I like to use these status updates to keep in touch with my colleagues, both inside and outside of IBM.
Thanks, Ted. Let's go back to the thing, and we'll end it here. So when we talk about the kind of value of what we do, I look at it as a trifecta of value. So why is it important to me as an employee? Well, it gives me my time back. It's the first time I ever got my time back because Connections handles the tactical things. As a manager, I get to see who my top performers are, where it's going on with their knowledge, who's sharing that type of functionality. I want to talk a little bit about a story about a woman that I work with named Carol Jones. And Carol Jones was handpicked by the Nobel laureates in Stockholm, Sweden. She flew over to Stockholm and she presented to the Nobel laureates about this thing called Web 2.0. So, as we say in Boston, she's wicked smart, right? So she's top 5 in the world, top 5 in the world when it comes to this type of stuff. So I really want to see what she shares, what she thinks is important. So I actually follow her and get all of the things that she thought was important. But the other day, I hovered my mouse over her name, and up comes this. It says, she's an IBM fellow, an e-goddess, and then she's no longer an active user because she retired. But everything she's ever shared is still available for me and my team to take advantage of. That capturing that knowledge and being able to do that. When you do your job, because it's about you, making it easier for you, you're actually giving tremendous benefit to everyone else behind you. Being able to capture that digital trail is unbelievably powerful. I want to thank you for your time. I had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy the rest of Lotusphere. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks.